You find yourself having stuttering issues in iRacing, even though you've tried just about every fix or possible fix you can find online, whether it's updates, drivers, new installs, new hardware, whatever. You've tried it and it still doesn't work. You still have stuttering issues. If that is you, then this is the video for you, because I've been there and I think I've finally got it all figured out. I'm going to share with you what that is next. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much as always for joining me. And like I said, if you've been having stuttering issues and you just cannot get it to go away, this is the video for you. Now, quick little backstory, little context here. If you remember, I put out that two-part video series on the iRacing graphics. Remember, I benchmarked all that stuff, did a bunch of things, and I had mentioned in there that I had stuttering issues, really bad stuttering issues, and I had fixed it. They had gone away. Well, then they came back. When they came back, messed with a bunch more stuff, did a bunch more testing, got it figured out, or so I thought. When I got it figured out that second time, that was right before I announced the 202 challenge, right? The 200 races in 2 months challenge. Well, about a week and a half into the challenge, I start getting stuttering issues again, really bad, and they started to get worse. And this was really driving me nuts. It was getting so bad that the last like 2 races that I ran, I had actually wrecked into people because of the stuttering. That's how bad the stuttering issues were. It would stutter. I would lose force feedback. Like, that's how hard it would stutter. It would cut out everything. I'd lose audio, force feedback. I mean, and it was like, massive. And then the next thing you know, I'm into somebody. So this was a really big issue for me. And I was like, look, I cannot keep doing these races until I figure this out, because I don't keep bouncing off people. I got enough trouble as it is when my stuff's not stuttering, right? I can't be out there running into people too. So it's been probably a week and a half that I've been working on this nonstop. And last week, I think I finally figured it out. And I'm going to show you what those were today, because they were settings that most people you don't think about. You just don't think about. A lot of people just kind of overlook them. And on top of that, they are settings that you can change, and then when you do updates, they'll actually reset. So it's very important that you check these settings, okay? So let's head over and let's take a look at what these are. All right, so first things first, down below in the description, I'm going to have a link to videos on undervolting your graphics card and your CPU, because here's the thing, those are 2 massive issues for people right now, especially if you're running an Intel CPU like a 12 series, 13 series, or 14 series CPU, or a RTX 40 series graphics card. Undervolting is essentially the new overclocking now. Now, what has happened is you've got these manufacturers, Intel, NVIDIA, right, where all they're doing is just brute forcing these components to essentially hit a bunch of numbers in synthetic benchmarks to make their stuff look good. That's all it is. That's why the Intel CPUs, right, like the 13900K like I've got, that's why you can literally heat a home with it, because it's just pumping so much juice in it, just so much volts. It's ridiculous. So undervolting your CPUs, undervolting your GPUs is essentially like the new overclocking. You can undervolt them and get better performance out of them, which seems so counterintuitive, but it's actually the truth. So down below, I'll have a link to a couple of those videos. I don't know these people. I have no tie to them. They're just videos that other people that I know who have been having stuttering issues found and tried, and they said that they worked. Okay, so we're trying to cover all the stuff here in this video. Now, I have undervolted my stuff, and I can tell you personally, it works. Now, I'm not doing what they did in their videos, but it's what I did is similar. So keep that in mind. What their methods that you're seeing, I've tested, they work, they're stable, all right? But make sure you test for yourself. Now, when you are testing, the benchmark that you want to use, and I'll put a link for this down in the description below, is this one, Unigen Heaven benchmark. The reason that you want to be using this, and keep in mind, we're talking about this specifically for iRacing. The reason you want to use this is because this is a DirectX 11 benchmark, which is what iRacing is on in terms of the API. Now, when you're doing it, all right, you want to max out the settings. So you want quality at ultra, tessellation extreme, anti-aliasing X8, all right, full screen on if you run full screen. If you don't run full screen in iRacing, then turn it off. Resolution, system, and then if you are running triple monitors, what you want to do is you want to click here on multi-monitor, and you want to go to wall 3x1. And that'll set up the triple monitors just like you're running in iRacing. This is the closest thing that you can do in terms of benchmarking for iRacing as you can find out there. 3D Mark right here, they've got a DirectX 11 benchmark Fire Strike, which is also really good, but you can't do the triple monitor wall setup like you can with Heaven. So use Heaven, all right? I'll have a link for this down in the description below. But when you are undervolting your CPU and GPU, you got to benchmark to make sure it's going to work, and this is the benchmark that I would use for that, okay? So after you've done your undervolting stuff, okay, you then need to make sure that you do these settings that I'm going to show you right now. So first up is our power. Now this is really important. So we're going to go down here to the, actually first we're going to hit the Windows button. We're just going to type Control Panel here. We're going to come over here to where it says Power Options. And on here, where it says Choose or Customize Power Plan, you want to select Ultimate Performance or High Performance. One of those two. If you run balanced, what I found is with a balanced power plan, it was still throttling, which I couldn't believe, but it was. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I don't know if that's a Windows 11 thing. I just don't know. I've never had an issue with the balanced power plan before, but with this system, I have been. And keep in mind, this system, I've got like a 1200 watt, like platinum power supply in there. It's not like I've got some cheapo power supply. So it's not my power supply. And for whatever reason, balanced, it's power throttling stuff. And when you've got components, even when they're undervolt, they're still drawing a massive amount of power. I noticed that what would happen is it would kind of hit this wall and then it's dropping. Right? The power's dropping off with it. And I noticed that when I changed this setting right here, this was one of the settings, that a lot of my problems had gone away. So remember, Control Panel, Power Options, select Ultimate or High Performance. All right. Next, you're going to go down here to the Windows button. You're going to right click on it and you're going to pull up your Task Manager. Now you can also do Control Alt Delete if you want to pull up Task Manager that way. Either way, it doesn't matter. Then you're going to go here to where it says Details. You're going to click on Details. All right. Now, what you're going to see is when you look at this, you see all these things that are running right here. All right. And what's really important is if you look over here to the right side, you will see this, power throttling. Now, we don't want anything power throttling. That has to do with iRacing, and that's the most important part. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have open everything that you use with iRacing, right? So for me, it's going to be my Fanatec control panel. Okay, I want to have that open. Usually it's going to be running in the background regardless, but I want to make sure it's open. Trading Paints, Race Lab apps, Camus, right? My wheel stuff. Going to have that open over here. Okay. Another thing you could actually, if you wanted to double check, make sure that it's got something going, you can actually hop into a system. Or hop into a session. So let's actually do that real quick. All right. So we hopped into a session here. So now we'll pull up the Task Manager again, and you can see right here, look at this. iRacing UI.exe, power throttling enabled. No, I do not want that. Efficiency mode off. Race Lab apps enabled. You're going to uncheck that efficiency mode. We do not want that enabled. Okay, that's why it's so important to open this up. Fanatec control panel, that's disabled. Good. Anti-cheat, make sure that is also disabled. All right. The iRacing local server, you want that disabled. You don't want anything that has to do with iRacing that you're using. Like I said, whether it's your overlays, whatever, does not matter. Make sure that it is not power throttling. If it is power throttling, it's going to cause an issue or potentially cause an issue. And also keep in mind that you need to scroll through here and actually look at everything. Oculus, if you use VR, make sure that that is not enabled. All right. Camus, disabled. That's what I want. Okay. And like I said, you need to scroll through here and actually look because there's a lot of this stuff. All right. A lot of these. Now, one thing that'll happen is you will go through and you're going to disable all of this stuff. And then you'll notice when you close everything out and you do your sessions on stuff like that, you'll notice that, hey, you ever check on it again, you'll be like, hey man, I disabled that UI.exe. Why does it keep opening up? Keep in mind, a lot of times the iRacing, this right here, which you're not at this part of the UI, that will go into that efficiency mode every time you open it. Why it does that, I don't know. Disable it from the get-go, disable all the other ones, and then you shouldn't have any more issues. Same thing with, like I said, RaceLab apps or whatever overlays you use, whatever audio you use, any of that stuff that has anything to do with iRacing. Your headset, right? If you've got software for your headset, make sure that it is not power throttling. If you've got a microphone, if you've got anything, your steering wheel. I cannot reiterate this enough. You want to make sure that all of that is disabled, that it is not power throttling. Anything that can be power throttled that has something to do with iRacing or the process going on with iRacing can cause stuttering. Anything. And audio is a big issue. Big issue. All right. In fact, it's such a big issue. I want to cover that next because that's where a lot of people, if you've done all of this and you're still having issues, then there's one last thing that you need to check. Okay, now really quick, I forgot to tell you, you want to also make sure that you set the priority for this stuff. Something that can happen is that efficiency mode, when it's unchecked, that's good, right? Efficiency mode is what can cause the throttling. But you want to also set the priority. Make sure that those are all set to at least normal. If it's below normal or low, then it can cause throttling. Opening screens will sometimes automatically go back into efficiency mode. That's okay. It's the ones that are actually operating, like the iRacing ones down here. These are when the sim is actually running. These are the ones that we're more concerned with, okay? And if you look at mine, I've actually got these all set to above normal. And you can set them higher if you want. Just make sure that they're at least normal. Last thing is this right here, Latency Mon. Latency Mon, what this is this is a piece of software. It's free. I'll have a link down in the description below. And you can use this to monitor the latency of things going on in your system, specifically audio, which is really important because a lot of people don't think of audio as causing problems, but it can. All right, so let me show you real quick. All right, so what you want to do is you want to open up an iRacing session, just like you would normally, and then you want to go to this Latency Mon, and we can actually close the task manager out. You want to go to this Latency Mon, you want to hit this green button here, and now it'll start monitoring the audio. And then hop into your session and start testing or racing or whatever. What Latency Mon does is it's going to actually show you what's going on with your system. So you can see here, it's measuring the process latency, the reported ISR, which is all this different crap. It's got the page faults on here, all of this. And this is really, really important because this thing, when you've got keep in mind, latency, right, which is essentially fancy way of saying delay. I mean, basically, latency is going to cause issues. And the nice thing is if there is an issue, it'll actually tell you what those issues are. It'll give you like a little report. You can actually go here to stats or processes, and it'll show you what's going on. This shows you your hard page faults. Hard page faults can be, it usually has to do with memory. I've got 64 gigabytes of DDR5 memory in here, and I still get page faults. Like, that's just one of those things that's going to happen. The main thing you want to make sure is that you're not getting a bunch of page faults on stuff that you're doing, like iRacing when you're in there, you know, things like that. So this is a really, really good piece of software. Also, you can click here on the drivers. It'll tell you what drivers are that you got going on here. This one right here, this kernel mode driver framework, this is something that you will see come up a lot of times with issues in terms of like the ISR count and stuff like that. CPU, it'll show you what's going on with your cores in your CPU. So this little tool is really, really nice, and for a free tool, you can't beat it. You want to make sure that you download the home edition, because that's the free tool, and you can see right here the website's up here, but like I said, I'll put a link down in the description below. So get this as well, because after you do all that stuff that I've already talked about, the undervolting, you know, resetting those settings, changing your power plan, then you want to be using this to monitor. And if you're having stuttering issues still, check this, and you'll see this green bar will actually fill up and it'll start to become red. It'll tell you what's wrong, and then you can literally take that out, do a search online, and figure out what the hell is going on, and hopefully get yourself some answers so you can finally get this fixed. But I will tell you, if you do the stuff that I've covered in this video, and you did the other stuff like my graphic settings and things like that I've covered in the previous videos, you should hopefully finally be done with stuttering. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it. Pretty quick little video here, but that's what I wanted to do is get this out to you. When I finally got this stuff figured out, I wanted to make sure that I tested it enough to be confident in the fact that, hey, this stuff is working, not having issues, it's doing what it needs to do, and we're finally on a stable footing here with the sim, because this was driving me bonkers. I mean, think about it, man. I go out and say, hey, I'm going to do 200 races in 2 months, and then all of a sudden I'm getting stuttering issues, worst that I've ever gotten, and I'm wrecking into people. It's like, dude, seriously? Really? This is winning this? You know what I mean? So it's just driving me nuts. And if you're somebody who's been having stuttering issues too, and I know that there are people out there because I've been getting messages from people about it, it's maddening. Stuttering is maddening, dude. And when you've got a good system, right? I mean, like my system is overkill, but I mean, if you went out and you bought a new system, you spent, you know, $1,000, $1,500, and you've got a good CPU, a good graphics card, you know, SSD, NVMe driver, good RAM, all this stuff like this, and now you got stuttering. It's maddening, dude. There's no other word to say. It's just maddening. And hopefully this stuff will help you get that figured out. Hopefully this will get rid of that stuttering, and you will have a good, smooth, clean playback on the sim, so you don't go out there like I did and run into people because you got stuttering. But you guys, that's going to do it. Thank you very much. Keep an eye out for the 202 challenge, because I will be definitely getting back into that now that I got these issues fixed. I've got some, I mean, I'm like 30 races behind where I need to be right now. Like, I got a ton of races that I have to make up. And keep in mind, I was trying to maintain where I was supposed to be. So I'm going to have we'll be doing probably some 12-hour live streams or something to try to make up all these races, because yeah, this whole stuttering PC issues really set me back. And then we had with iRacing, with the server crashes and all the issues that they were having, yeah, it's like really set me back. So keep an eye out for those, because I do have a bunch more of that I got to be doing. Also, if you like this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Share this with others, so that way if they've got issues with their PCs, hopefully this will help. Like I said earlier in the video, I searched everywhere, and to figure this stuff out, which in retrospect, when I go through it, it seems like super simple, but it's these little things that nobody thinks of. And when you go onto YouTube or Google search and you look up how to fix stuttering, it's most people telling you the same crap. It seemed like the same answers over and over and over and over and over again. It took me forever to figure out these little things that I just covered in here, like legit. And it was also contradictory to what I had been like told before, because like I said before, with the power options, it used to be like, don't use high performance, just use balance. If you use anything else, you'll screw stuff up. And turns out that's not the case with this system anymore. So hopefully this stuff will help you. And if it did, get it out to people, share it, get it out there, so that way others can find it and hopefully get their systems dialed in. But yeah, thank you very much. You can check out all the stuff that we've got at School of Sim Racing. Links down in the description below. We've got our big Knoxville race this next week coming up, 2-day race at Knoxville in the sprint cars. So if you want to check that out, we still have about 8, I think it's like 8 spots open. We're capping it at 50, and I want to say we're like a little over 40. So if you want to check that out, make sure you join the Discord. You can do that, like I said, using the website link down below. But that'll do it, you guys. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. Until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.